Wario64 on X. Bloomberg. Xbox is canceling Contraband. And this is from Jason Schreier. Breaking. Xbox is canceling Contraband. Announced in 2021 from Avalanche Studios, Just Cause. And 4 years of radio silence. Sources tell Bloomberg News. This news arrives weeks after a mass layoff in which Xbox canceled several other big titles. This was a little bit surprising because I thought if they were going to be canceling Contraband, it would have been back with all those layoffs and project cancellations, same day as Perfect Dark and multiple other projects that they named. But no, apparently they were like, oh, wait, we got one more in me. Contraband. They might even have more after this, by the way. Things are not looking great when it comes to Xbox Game Studios. And something I want to really focus on when it comes to Contraband, because some of you may not recall the specific circumstances regarding this game. Contraband was a Sweet Baby Inc. Worked on product. I don't know how to say this, but it seems like everything Sweet Baby Inc. touches turns to absolute shit. And once again, we have another example of it. Jay Viper, quote tweeting Endymion, he says, another Sweet Baby slop flop. Endymion says, Xbox canceled Contraband? Why is that? Oh, that's why. Contraband. We worked on sensitivity reading, character bios, and script writing. Guys, this here is Contraband. Revealed in 2021. And I got to say, just right off the bat, game companies really need to stop announcing games 5 years in advance. Like this practice has got to stop. This is absolute insanity. Oh, also in partnership with Avalanche Studios, by the way. Announcing a game 5 years before it's ready to come out, so many problems can come up from that. And now we have a situation where 4 years later, after the official reveal trailer for Contraband, we don't have an update to what's happening with the game. We have an outright cancellation, which tells me that when they revealed this in 2021, they were literally nowhere close to having this game ready or even in a beta format. Why would you announce this game in that status? Why would you even tell people? Why? Were you just so eager to get another game named? What even is this trailer? It's just a camera going around panning. Contraband. Oh, get hyped. Get hyped. The other thing with this, you can't do this with a game that nobody cares about. Like if you're going to do it with like Metroid Prime 4, it's like, oh, okay, people are very familiar with Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 4. Okay, makes sense. Contraband, why bother? We got Vara Dark over on X. Stop announcing games so early. Announce Engage reaction 2 years before max. It's been 4 years and it clearly wasn't done, or they probably would have pushed it out. And she quote tweets Shinobi, who is a hardcore Wookiee that has me blocked for some reason, says, Xbox has canceled Contraband from Avalanche Studios. Announced back in 2021, the game was set to be an open world co-op heist game. This comes to us from IGN. Xbox stops development on Contraband 4 years after initial E3 announcement. Another Xbox project gone. Xbox has stopped development of Contraband to, quote unquote, evaluate the project's future. So is it canceled outright or just stopped and put on pause? Because damn, talk about a studio that has no idea what the hell they're doing with their own game. With Bloomberg reports saying the game is canceled entirely 4 years after its initial E3 announcement. So we have conflicting information right off the bat. They are saying it's paused, or their words, stopped it to evaluate the future. Whereas Schreier said it's canceled entirely. Curious. Bloomberg journalist Jason Schreier first broke the news on Blue Sky saying that Xbox is canceling Contraband, announced in 2021. This was followed by an official confirmation from Avalanche on its website, which reads as follows. Over the past several years, Avalanche Studios Group and Xbox Game Studios Publishing have collaborated on Contraband. Active development has now stopped while we evaluate the project's future. We're thankful for the excitement we've seen from the community since we announced, and will give an update on what's next as soon as we can. I'm very curious right now. I'm very curious as to what the issue with the miscommunication is. Because Jason Schreier is saying it's canceled. I assume it's done. It's canceled. The studio itself saying it's stopped. That's not canceled. That's very, very strange that there's conflicting information. Almost like the studio didn't want to say canceled, even if it was, just so that they can say it's canceled after this all blows over like a year or two from now, when people completely forget about it and someone randomly asks about it. They're like, oh, that game, yeah, it was canceled. We said it was canceled. It's like, no, you're just trying to soften the blow. It was canceled. Just tell people it's canceled. Contraband was originally announced for Xbox and PC at E3 2021, RIP E3, with a teaser trailer. At the time, we knew it would be set in the 1970s smuggler paradise called Bayan, but we didn't see any gameplay. Since then, we've seen nothing further of the game, nor heard any progress on its development. However, we did report that in 2022, management and employees clashed over a controversial hire and lack of subsequent communication, a dispute that later inspired the studio to form an official union club and pressure the company towards signing a collective bargaining agreement. Oh boy. This is the story from that. Just Cause Studio employees call for a change amid year-long battle over controversial hire. Employees say Avalanche Studios repeatedly ignored calls for transparency, but that stance changed thanks to collective efforts. And they go through the whole thing here, but the controversial hire, they say, our sources say this person's hiring was the catalyst of their frustration. Their real conflict ultimately became less with the individual in question and more with the company itself. They say that Avalanche management and HR repeatedly avoided engaging with their concerns about the company's hiring process, dismissed feelings of discomfort from those in the company who had experienced workplace harassment in past jobs, and ignored requests for transparency on how Avalanche planned to keep employees safe going forward. So that should tell you all you need to know about Avalanche Studios and why this company failed. Again, another perfect example of don't fill your company with a bunch of wokies, because they're just going to clash, fight, and fall apart. Xbox, meanwhile, has been canceling projects left and right amid mass layoffs last month. That saw 9,100 jobs eliminated Microsoft-wide, including hundreds in gaming. In the aftermath, we learned that games including Everwild and Perfect Dark had been canceled. Once again, another Sweet Baby Inc. connected game of Contraband this time is now never seeing the light of day. And just taking a quick look at this screenshot, my goodness, bro, like what has Sweet Baby Inc. worked on that turned out to be like an incredible game experience that sold better than its predecessor and blew people away? Honestly, you'd be hard-pressed to see anything. Maybe the best performing game they've ever put out would be God of War Ragnarok, followed by Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2, all of which were outperformed by their predecessors before Sweet Baby Inc. came in and made any impact on the games. Hyper Lightbreaker Studio completely falling apart to the point of having GoFundMes to try to get the game to the finish line. Suicide Squad, we all know what happened with Suicide Squad completely falling apart and being taken offline. And these other games that have never even seen the light of day or no one's heard about or cared about. And now Contraband is the latest to fall, which was a supposedly big title from Avalanche and Xbox Game Studios. The Sweet Baby curse is very real, and any studio that works with them seems to have a very ill fate towards the end. And again, You can say it's a harassment campaign all you want, but at the end of the day, we're just talking facts. And if you want the highest success likelihood chance for your game, why the hell would you work with a studio that is admitting to copying people's homework and injecting sensitivity to games that literally takes away any kind of creativity from the game itself in the first place? It really does make you wonder. But I'll leave that one there.